Bo the Machine Gun Bassett, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, sir, man. I was telling you before we got on the air, big fan of yours. I first heard your name. It was this February. I was interviewing Vito Aruja, and I was like, who are some of the young up and comers? He's like, I don't know this kid, but my brother talks about this kid, Bo Bassett. And so ever since then, I've been on the lookout, man. And watching you this summer was just amazing. So congrats on all the success.
Man, thank you. Thank you so much.
So you have one of the craziest routines I've ever seen. I love watching the 5 a.m. videos of you at the gym. How did this all start for you? Because how old are you right now?
I'm 15 years old. Just turned 15 in August.
15. When did it start, Bo Bassett?
It started way back. I was 6 years old. My dad was a high school wrestling coach before I even started wrestling. So, I was basically, I guess you could say, born into the sport. And so when I was 6 years old, that's when I started going to wrestling practice out at Young Guns and things, and going to my dad's high school. But I was 6 years old, started the sport. Like I said, my dad coached and wrestled when he was younger. So, ever since I first went in the room, I loved it. And we've expanded and evolved so much since then, but I can still remember my first practice at Young Guns. Guys like Spencer Lee, Jason Nolfer in the room with Coach Stripmatter. But the culture's still the same there. I love it. But ever since I stepped in the room, it was just amazing.
And your dad coached at Young Guns before you were even going there?
Yeah, he did. So he coached at a couple of high schools in my area. He loved the sport as well, like I did. And so he was coaching before I was even 6 years old and started.
And your uncle, is he still involved? Because I know he wrestled way back in the day too, right?
Yeah, so he wrestled way back in the day as well with my dad. He's a little bit younger than my dad, and they both coached together at high school. My dad coached a lot with Young Guns as well before I even started wrestling. But yeah, my uncle is still involved today. He's in every workout.
Really? Man. So what's the story with your pops? And does he just love coaching, or like what's his, how did he get so involved before you were even involved?
Yeah, I think he shares the sport. Like I said, when he was younger, he wrestled. So, he had, he came back. He lives around the same high school as he went to. So, he started coaching there, and he coached at a couple of the other schools in the area. But I think he just shares that love of the sport that I have. And, it's just his passion. He really took it to the next level when my brother and I started wrestling. It's all, it's not his main job. Obviously, he's a school teacher and things, but one of his jobs, man, he loves it. And, he gives all his effort to us.
And it's so cool that you guys love it just as much. It's just a whole family affair. The whole squad's in on it. So your dad, what subject does your dad teach and what grade?
So he does engineering. It's called STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. He teaches 7th through 12th grade. So me and my teammates, we have him for a class normally. Teammates have him. So that's really cool.
And for anyone who doesn't know your Twitter game, so how many days a week are you guys doing the 5 a.m.s?
We normally do those 3 days a week, normally Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We've been doing those for, the whole last school year. And then we're 4 or 5 weeks into this school year.
So you, at any given morning, there's like a squad of dudes in the basement of your house, right?
Yeah. So 4:55 rolls around. I unlock the door, turn the lights on, and there's anywhere from 12 to 15 guys out there waiting at the door, and they're ready to go.
And who are some of the names that might pop in there on a given day?
Sam Herring, obviously everybody knows that. Oh yeah, Sam Herring's in the house. Eli, his brother. We got Devin Magro, who comes a lot. Owen McMullen, Tommy Verrett, Jax Forrest. A lot of these guys are on the rankings. Obviously, my brother comes in a lot. The Gibsons will pop in here and there sometimes. They do a lot of, they live a little bit farther away. They're about 20 minutes from my house. So to catch the bus sometimes it's difficult for them, but they pop in here and there. And then we have the Pensiero brothers, and I'm sure I'm forgetting people. I'm trying not to, but we got a lot of up-and-comers, a lot of younger guys that'll be coming up through the ranks here soon.
And the mat isn't that big. So are you guys doing like calisthenics on the side while some guys are on the mat?
Yeah. So last year we were all able to go on the mat, which was great.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of people coming this year. So what we do is we do normally a half hour of wrestling on the mat. And then I have a little mini gym down there, basically surrounding the mat. So we have half the guys, doing lifting and things like that. So it's a really good setup, half hour and half hour. And, it's a good workout.
And what are you focusing on when you go in there? And are you leading it, or is your pops leading it?
So we have written up workouts. for every day, what 5 lifts we're going to do, or, whatever, 5 drills, play wrestling. One day's, hard play wrestling, one day's just drilling, or one day's maybe a grinder, you go straight, live and hand fighting for a half hour. But, we have our plans down there. We have 2 sheets of paper for the weeks and things, but my dad, he runs it and he gets his run in as we're wrestling and lifting. So
it's so cool. And I love how, I'm from Illinois. People hate hearing me say that, but big takedown cut state. You're in the land of the writers out there. And I heard that your dad, and maybe it's someone else who gave him this idea, but your dad essentially does 2 days a week. You guys only go on the mat and there's like no on the feet. Is that right?
Yep, that's 100% true. Obviously I'm in Pennsylvania and we're a big top and bottom state. So he does focus a lot on top and bottom as well. We make a big emphasis on, being able to turn a guy.
So will you not even drill like high C's, singles, nothing on those days, right?
Most of the time we'll go straight top and bottom, or we'll do transitions, especially if it's freestyle. At Greco, we'll do a lot of transition things, but yeah, there's a lot of focus on top and bottom.
That is awesome. I don't know many clubs that do that. A lot of them just, you start on your feet, and then by the time you get to drill on top and bottom, it's an afterthought, but that's a priority for you guys.
Yeah, it is. It's 2 days a week, and then normally we go 2 to 3 days a week on our feet. So about even with the focus level.
And how often are you going to Young Guns?
So I go there Mondays and Wednesdays. So I'll be there, I was there tonight, and then I was there on Monday. So Coach Jim Matter normally runs Monday, and then Coach John normally runs it on Wednesday. So, we get a good mix of both of them. And then they run a lot of camps as well. This weekend they have their Super 32 preparatory camp. So I'll be up there all weekend. But, they're running a lot of camps. But during the season, I normally go 2 days a week.
2 days a week. And let me ask you this. Couple rapid fire. What is the compound?
So the compound is my dad's business. He opened about 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago. It's for basic strength. And basically what we do, we run right before Young Guns on Mondays and Wednesdays. And then we offer a lot of other different classes. We do powerlifting, and that's a little bit of CrossFit as well. There's a bunch of jiu-jitsu, and that's where we run Ranger Pride out of as well, is at the compound. And during COVID, Young Guns actually had to run their sessions out of the compound as well. But it's just a strength place that my dad opened for me and the teammates to, go and get a good lift in.
Now, will you do that even if you do the lift in the basement in the morning?
So yes, basically we do, we do the 5 a.m.s 3 days a week. And then on Mondays and Wednesdays, we have the compound session right before Young Guns. So yeah, we'll do it those days. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have Ranger Pride, normally into either a power lift or a CrossFit.
And Ranger Pride, not to confuse people, but that's like the school. That's the club tied to your school that you go to?
Yeah, that's basically it. It's a little confusing, but yeah, it's not like a different club from Young Guns or anything. It's just we run on the opposite days of Young Guns, and it's basically for our school guys. Because
essentially, your dad is coaching at where you're going to go to high school already, right?
Yeah, he is. He took over the junior high school teams this year.
And what high school is that for folks who are going to want to be following you in the years to come?
That is Bishop McCort. We're AA.
How many divisions in PA?
There's 2.
So you're in the big one?
We are actually in the smaller.
The smaller one.
Yeah, our school's not that big. It's not like inner city or anything. So.
Okay. So is Sam going to go to that high school too?
Oh yeah. We got a slew of guys. So right now ranked high school wise, we have 5 that were ranked today on Willie's. I was ranked, Mason Gibson was ranked 1 as well. So we have 2 number 1s. Eric Gibson is going to our high school. I think he's like 6, maybe 5. We have Sam Herring, who I think was 18-ish, and then Jax Forrest, who is number 8 on those rankings currently. But we got a bunch of studs coming, and we're right now we're a young team. We got a lot of 7th, 8th graders and rising 9s. So.
But these are national rankings, right? These aren't like PA rankings.
Yeah, these are the national rankings.
Woo!
We got a lot of guys that were at Fargo and stuff, so we're gonna be pretty stacked someday.
Man, that's where like the momentum started this summer with all the awesome wrestling. It was like Fargo. That was a great week. Sam did great. There was so many good matches. Eric Larkin's son from Arizona was a lot of fun to watch. And then we rolled right into the Cadet Worlds, man. That is just, God, that was so fun to watch. What are your memories of that now that we're a couple months removed?
Man, so Fargo was right before Worlds. So we actually went out 5 days early to Worlds with the freestyle team. They do their camp to acclimate with the time zones and everything like that. They want us ready to go. So we went out 5 days early, got a really awesome camp in. I learned so much. I think without that camp, I don't know if I would have made as much or even won the worlds I did, because that camp, I mean, I learned so much. I mean, I learned, a lot of stuff on defense, a lot of chasing the corner and things like that. We had Coach KJ out there, Coach Reeder from Wisconsin, Lee Pritz was out there. Can't forget Coach Rob was out there, but we had a lot of great coaches out there, showing stuff. So I think that camp was really important. And during that camp, every night, it was actually like 10, 11, 12 a.m., 11 p.m. I'd be watching Fargo and Sam and the Gibsons and all the guys back home. But so I was watching Fargo leading up the Worlds, and then they got to watch me at Worlds. So that was a really cool experience.
For sure. No, it was awesome. And I'm just curious, kind of off topic, you mentioned you were watching Fargo. Are you someone like Yanni who watches a lot of matches on YouTube, like a lot of foreigners?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm huge on that. I think the first time I watch something, it's as a fan, cheering on a guy, or if it's a teammate, really, hoping that he wins at things, or just watching for fun. But then I think the second time, I'm like Yanni and I'm watching for techniques or strategies or anything like that, simple little moves that they're hitting and stuff. But yeah, so I definitely watch a lot of the foreigners.
Who are some of the guys you've watched the most, or some of the most influential on your game over the years?
I love watching the Russians. Bajrang from India, he's huge. A lot of the Cubans as well. I just really like to watch as many people as possible, but the Russians are huge. Uguev is super tough, and
yeah,
someday that's probably the weight that I'll be. So I just seeing how he wrestles and how he does things is really cool. But I watched a lot of the Cadet Worlds leading up to when I went there, and I was definitely ready to go, and I visualized a lot. So I felt like I've been there before, but hopefully it feels like that, because I visualize the Olympics a lot, and I see myself there. So I like to be there before I'm actually there, if that makes sense.
Dude, you said the V word, visualize. I go crazy for that kind of stuff. What's your routine? Like, do you put it this way, when you're visualizing it, do you see like yourself wrestling someone else, or is it like first person and you're seeing it through your own eyes?
So I visualize twice a day, sometimes 3 when I have time at school, but on my way to school, my dad, we turn the radio off and things, and I just visualize on the way to school. We have about a 15-minute drive, so I'm visualizing there. And then I always visualize before I go to bed. I think that's really big too, because then, you're thinking about it, you're dreaming about it and things like that. So, but really I visualize, I see myself, I picture it in my head, and I just see myself there thinking about how the match is going to go, how I'm going to prepare, how the weight cut's going to go, how the event's going to look, the podium. I mean, I stood on the podium and listened to the national anthem about 100 times before I even did it in real life, and ran the flag and things like that. But I think that I definitely see myself there, before I'm there.
And for like right now, what's your next big event? Super 32?
Yeah, that's a big one.
So are you visualizing that? Or are you thinking about the Olympics when you're going to school?
A little bit of both. I like to visualize the next upcoming current thing, and then the main goal, the big main goal at the end as well. But definitely visualizing a lot of Super 32 and, winning that high school belt.
And do you have like domestic competition that's going to push you to the limit, or do you have to get back to the Worlds? I guess when was the last time you lost in the U.S.?
December of 2019 at back duels to Aiden Valencia.
You still got the medal on the door?
I actually do right now. It's the door that goes to the 5 a.m. room.
I saw that on your tour that you have that on the door. I'm like, that is so savage, because there's like some dents on the door, from you.
There is,
hitting that thing.
Yeah.
So Valencia's younger brother is the guy?
So I don't know that they're cousins or something, but he is from California, like they are. And, he's made a bunch of world teams. I think he's a U15 world champ, so he's a stud. But, I don't know if he'll ever wrestle again. He gotten a little bit bigger. He now wrestles around like Mason's weight, 126-ish. So, but that last loss still motivates me to this day. And, I still remember a lot about it. So.
What happened in folk style or freestyle?
Folk style. I think I lost like 4-2 or 3-2, maybe 5-2. But I just remember I bumped up to wrestle him. It was PA versus California, VAC dual finals. I was going after it. We always talk about chasing lions, chasing the best guys. At that time, I think he was a world champ, so maybe a little nervous, but I went into it. I was confident, and I thought I could get it done. And I basically, I went after it, couldn't get it done, but definitely elevated my game and motivated me to higher things now, but still motivates me.
For sure, man. I mean, God, you're such an animal. It's so fun to watch. And getting back to the Worlds, that was the first time a lot of United States really saw you on the radar. And like what I noticed about your match is that you're not afraid to get, if you have to give up a takedown early because you're going after it. And not that you get taken down often, it's rare, but a couple of the matches you got taken out, you didn't think anything of it, so you're just so calm in there. Is that something that you've gone through before?
Yeah, 100%. The matches at Worlds are a little short. They're only 4 minutes, but I still enough time to break a guy, especially the Europeans and guys from other countries. I don't know. I just think that, I don't know, they don't have the gas tank that we do, and they don't go as high of pace as we do. I mean, you saw it at the Olympics. Taylor was breaking guys. I mean, the whole team was physically winning matches because the other guy was completely breaking and just couldn't go anymore. But that's my main goal, is to break the guy points as I can, but to physically just wear out so bad that he can't even get up and he can't even wrestle anymore. That's the main goal. Points early. It shouldn't matter, in a full match.
And is that where the what's the machine gun mindset? Where does that come into that? I love that.
So that's a big one for us. We always talk about that. Machine gun mindset basically is, you have a choice between a machine gun that shoots however many times, 1,000 times, to a one-shot shotgun. What are you going to take in a fight? You're going to take the machine gun, has way more shots, way faster, way more bullets and all that. So that's what we want to do in a match. We don't want to be that guy that takes one shot or, goes out and feels the guy out. We want to be that guy that just gets after it and, takes as many shots as he can. So
that's where that comes in. And that's the way you wrestle, man. And then, going into the finals, it's like, all right, he's got Russia, the kid's legit, but you got, it's always, you got to get through Russia to make a name for yourself. You go out there, you pin the kid. At that point, people are like, that's it. Call Lugoyev up, bring him in. It's over. We got to see this kid against him. But I mean, in all seriousness, man, what a performance. What are you thinking before you go on the mat for the World Finals?
I remember it. We were in the chute. It was my dad, Coach KJ, and I, and then the Russian was right beside me. I was first match of the whole thing, and then I just remember I was in the zone. I was ready to go. My dad was all fired up. He was ready as well. Coach KJ was even getting pre-fired up, so we were ready to go. But I was just remembering all the work I put in. Like I said, ever since I started when I was 6 years old, first went into, the wrestling room, I just remember, I loved it. I worked so hard at it. Why would I lose now? This guy doesn't deserve to win as much as I do. And, I just knew that I had to go out there and just give it all I had, put it on the line, and he couldn't go 4 full minutes with me. But I remember, they announce your name and you walk out, and that was a pretty awesome moment. That was pretty real. You look up and you see all the different country fan bases. Russia was going nuts, and then obviously the USA was as well. But walking up the stairs to the stage was pretty awesome. And then when you're on the mat, I was starting to get it a little bit in my stomach, feeling a little nervous. But once we shook hands, it was on, so I was ready.
God, man, good to know you're still human. You still feel the nerves a little bit. So after you get it done that night, I'm just curious, what's someone like you do to celebrate that night?
It was a great night, man. I called a lot of people. A lot of people called me. There was a lot of support there, not only from my friends, family, but my school was behind me. There's a lot of great people in the community that were behind me here. I have a great support system here. But my parents were there. My brother was there. So that was really awesome to share that moment with them. I was celebrating for a while. I got to go on the podium and stuff. One bad thing is we had to do a doping test, which took like 2 hours. That was a rough process. But other than that, it was great. Everything was awesome. I got the belt. You get to stand on the podium and hear the national anthem and stuff. But that night we went out to eat stuff. It was super cool. But I had Greco in a couple of days, so I had to stay kind of focused. But I definitely enjoyed it. And then when I got home, I really enjoyed it as well. So. Man,
the reception your hometown gives you is phenomenal.
Yeah, it was unreal. When I got home, they were all at my house already, and they were, they had signs made and things. It was just amazing. And then my school held a parade thing, and that was just awesome to see, the community stand up and stuff.
It's and like they were, even before you left, they had the send off with all the flags.
Yeah, they were fired up, man.
And I think the thing people got to remember about this too is the UWW Cadet division. You're wrestling up a couple years, right?
Oh yeah. So we had to sign papers to even wrestle. I had to give them to him at weigh-ins, and I think it's like 17 and below, and I was going in at 14. It was back in July, so I was going in as 14 years old, and I had to sign papers to be able to compete. If I got hurt, it wasn't on the event or anything, but
dang,
that was pretty cool.
The coolest thing I saw was when one of the Russian coaches came up and took a picture with you afterwards.
Yeah, it was really awesome. So they really follow wrestling over there. I think a lot of those Russians and guys from the other countries even have like flow accounts and stuff. Like they know the best USA wrestlers. Like even Coach KJ over there, he was like a celebrity. You know, people were coming up and getting their picture with him. You know, he was an Olympian and things like that. So they
even this trip still.
Yeah, at Budapest. Yeah,
Wow.
the world team from different countries were coming up and getting pictures with him. And then they really respect you. You know, once you win a world title, because I think a lot of the guys there, they know what goes into it and they know how hard it is. So that was really cool for that Russian guy. You know, he got a picture with me. I think he said future Olympic champ or something. You can't really understand the guys, but they're just awesome, and they definitely respect you, and you know you respect them. So.
No, I mean, of all the countries, right? Everyone's got the utmost respect for the Russians. So to see that, it's awesome. So like when you look back at your career, when would you say you stopped doing like the 3 months a year, November through January, or like just a normal season? Did you ever do that?
I think probably my first and second year. I did maybe not year round, maybe like 4 or 5 months out of the year. And then when I won my first state title, I really turned it up. I think that year I really started to love it and saw that I could have success and things. And that's when I really turned it up, I think, going year round. So.
And your parents are obviously all in on it. I've been asking a lot about your pops, but obviously your mom, your brother, it's a whole family affair. And you guys are like just as committed as it gets, man, even with the diet, right? You're focusing on your diet now.
Yeah, I am for sure. Every little thing now, especially at my age, is really important. Everything from diet to, you know, how I'm living, how I'm sleeping, workouts, everything like that, getting my electrolytes and all those type of things. But yeah, I'm really focusing on every single thing and trying to have zero chinks in the armor and, you know, go in with absolutely no regrets.
So exciting to follow you, man. We're going to be watching like Hawks out here. And you still got a year in middle school, right?
Yeah. So I'm in 8th grade this year. And then, I'll be wrestling up for Super 32 high school. I'm going to try to be the third ever 8th grade high school I think it's 106, maybe Crookham 113, but third ever 8th grader win high school Super 32. So that's going to be really awesome. That's coming up in the next month. And then other than that, I don't really have much until Worlds. I think I'll be competing at some of the bigger events during the year, but you know, it's focusing on Super 32 states and Worlds.
So do you do the Tulsa thing, or is that not as big anymore?
I don't know if I'll do it this year.
You've done it before though?
I have. Yeah, last year I went and, you know, I got to win an eagle and stuff, but those
nice
events. Yeah.
Now, will you do the same kind of training frequency as you're doing now throughout the year, kind of leading up to the spring?
Yeah, we're working really hard. I think during the summer, we get more workouts in because you're not going to school and things. But during the school year, we have a great structure. We have a great plan and things. We have just enough time to get our homework in and all the school academic things done, and then we're in the room as much as we can. But the training stays pretty intense all the way through. And then when it comes freestyle season, I really like freestyle. I really enjoy it. The training, stays the same, but yeah, it's going to be a fun year.
Big freestyle guy. Do you think you'll keep doing Greco moving forward?
I do. Yeah, I think I'll keep competing in Greco as I move forward. I definitely, it opened my eye a little bit when I went to Worlds and competed in Greco. It's just not really the same as here in the U.S. Here in the U.S., Greco's good. Don't get me wrong, but man, out of country, that's all those guys are doing year round. They're just training Greco. They don't do any freestyle or anything. So, that's what they're doing year round. While, we're here wrestling freestyle and folk sound stuff. So those guys definitely came prepared. And I think that, if you want to be successful on the world stage in Greco, you definitely got to put more time into it than just those, 3, 4, 5 months out of the year. So,
well, some countries, a lot of people tell me Greco's more popular, which is, it's just hard to believe because, we're so focused on folk style, but yeah, I mean, Greco is just deep overseas, man.
Hungary, they said that they like Greco better. That's why it was second at Worlds, which really surprised me as well. I think the majority of the world, though, does prefer freestyle.
Freestyle, yeah. Well, man, it's been so great to catch up. I just have a couple questions here from the audience, and we'll let you go.
Gotcha. When
you're like warming up, are you someone who's keeping the mind clear, or do you have like a routine you're going through?
Well, I have a routine in my warm up, but as far as the mind goes, I keep it clear for the most part. I'm not thinking about, anything other than that match or anything other than that tournament. I'm thinking about all the work I put in, everything I did, and just that I deserve to win more than this guy does, and he can't go a full match in my pace. And I know that I deserve to win, but I definitely have a warm up routine that I go through every single time. I do it at practice to get warmed up, and I do it before matches. I definitely have a plan when I go out.
What's the routine?
So obviously I like to jog a little bit, get loosened up. We do a lot of our agilities at the compound of Young Guns. Just a little bit of gymnastic stuff, things like that. We do backflips and, the forward cartwheels, that type of thing. We like to get a little bit of sprints in, and then we do a lot of drilling, but a lot more play wrestling. We're not, we're out there trying to get basically a full match in before, you have your first match. You hear that, but I think it's really important to do that. They did that at Worlds, and I think it, definitely works from there all the way down. But getting a full match, maybe a play wrestle match in before you go out, and then, just getting your mind ready and, getting ready to go, blowing the lungs out, and then you're ready.
After that, it's game time. The other question I had that I was dying to ask you about, have you watched a lot of film on Aaron Pico over the years, or do you know who that is?
Yeah, I 100%.
Bro, your snaps look just like him.
Yeah, that dude, it kind of stinks when he left.
Oh.
He was so good. I like to see how he would have played out, but yeah, he was an animal. And I definitely watched a little bit of his matches for sure. His snaps were definitely nasty back in the day.
I mean, that's what sticks out to me with you. Like, if a guy gets lazy for a second, they're going nose at the mat. And I had Zane on the show earlier today. I was watching some of his matches with Pico. Zane's one of the best to ever do it. Pico was 8-0 against Zane when he got out of the game, which is like stunning. And a lot of those matches, he's just so heavy on the hands. He's snapping. So it reminded me a lot about your style, because sometimes he'll tech a guy without even touching their legs sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, snap downs is definitely my first thing. I go out and I'm definitely trying to snap his head down. Some guys, they try to scout it out and they try to keep their head up real hard. And that's when the shots open up. I know that happened with Pico a lot. When you watch his matches, a guy will try to really defend his snap, but then it just opens up his leg attack. So it's definitely it's a pretty nice combination with your shots and your snap, but definitely watched him before and took some things from him.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. Well, Bo Bassett, I appreciate you making time for us. It's late on a Wednesday night. It's a school night of all nights. So we'll let you run. Thanks again for coming on the show, man. As he said, big fans and can't wait to watch you out there again.
Man, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for letting me come on. Like I said, I watch this podcast all the time. I love it, the Smith series and all that stuff. So I just love it. So thank you.
Heck yeah, man. It's an honor. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Take care. Thanks for listening to this episode of Wrestling Changed My Life. To see video clips from this interview, please go to Instagram at Wrestling Changed My Life. This episode was proudly presented by Spartan Combat. The Spartan Combat Nationals are returning to Jacksonville, Florida, April 8th through the 10th, 2022. Register now at SpartanCombat.com.